Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Price Action Volume Trader. Today I'm gonna make a quick video to show you a very quick, easy way that you can make your footprint charts look a lot simpler, more precise, and in my opinion, look a lot nicer in the Sierra chart platform. Now, what you see right here, this is the most basic format of footprint charts here in Sierra. Unlike other platforms where you simply select an option to show a footprint chart, in Sierra you actually apply an indicator or a study, and that is what generates the footprint charts. If you go here into analysis studies, you can see right here this study that we have that you can find here on the left column right here called numbers bars. This is the footprint study in Sierra chart. I have an entire video that I made giving a step-by-step guide on how you can make this chart yourself and even mark off imbalances and everything. So that video is in the description down below of this video. You can find it in my list of my most popular videos. There's a link for that there. And I share the process exactly how you can go from starting just a plain chart into generating this basic footprint setup. Okay, as you know, footprint charts are one of the most valuable order flow tools that I use in my day trading. In this case, this is a 3000 tick chart, which is my favorite chart to use when I am doing day trading in the the S&P 500 market on the CME futures. And what we have here, you can make different configurations as far as what the columns show, but this is the most basic setup where you have bid, buy, ask. Okay, so meaning all the numbers that you see on the left side are bids, meaning these were the executed orders to sell, and then on the right side you have the ask, which were the executed orders to buy. Okay, so then, for example, if we take this candle right here, if you add up all the numbers that you have here, then you're gonna have the candle volume, which is shown down here. In this case, 4,274 was the total number of contracts that we traded in this 3000 tick chart. Tick charts, I have a video on this as well. I like them a lot because they filter out the market noise, especially during periods of low volumes or high volumes. It just helps keep better track and have cleaner looking charts. Ticks is not the same as volume. A volume chart measures just a specific number of volumes traded, whereas a tick chart measures the number of transactions that happened. They're usually somewhat similar, but I like tick charts better. But anyway, you can make this for any chart that you want, whether it's a minute-based chart, a tick, a volume, etc. So what I'm going to show you in this video is how to make a chart that looks like this turn into this. So basically what we're doing is, instead of having an outline of the candlesticks, what we're having is just a candlestick in post in between the columns of the bid and the ask. So in my opinion, this is how I like it a lot better, because I feel like this looks just a lot simpler and cleaner than this one. Again, it's just personal preference, so I thought I would just share how to do this. Okay, so first of all, let's just go into the basic settings of how this chart is made. And if you go to my website, priceactionvolumetrader.com, there is an option called Free Resources, and I have a link there where you can go and download for free the exact document that I use on Sierra chart for this footprint chart that I showed in the video how to make. I also have a file for a market profile chart as well, so you can check those out on my website. So you don't have to go through the process of making it. You can just download the CHT file from Sierra and just drop it in your data folder and just upload it on your program. Okay, so first let's go into the settings that we have for this basic footprint chart that I showed how to make in my original video. Again, we're gonna go, as you can see, this chart only has 4 studies or indicators applied to it. The first one is the numbers, the bottom stats of the numbers bar calculated values, which is this numbers down here that in this case I have delta for the candle, cumulative delta for the day or the session, and the individual candle volume. So this is some stats that I have underneath each candle at the bottom, and this is from the number bars calculated value, which is the study that you can see right here on the left side. So that's the first study we have. Then I have the second, which is the price line, which is this little dotted line that you can see here, which is basically just showing me what is the current price, the last traded price that we are in. Then we have the numbers bar, which is basically all the numbers that you see here, which is the footprint indicator in itself. And the last indicator I have is the countdown timer, which is this little number on the corner. This is basically going backwards. In this case, this is a tick chart, so it's just measuring in reverse the number of transactions left until the next 3,000 tick candle starts. If you were using a time-based chart, like let's say if this was a 5-minute chart, then you would have a little countdown clock from 5 minutes down to 0, and then the next candle would start, etc. The market is actually open, but is super slow because right now we're just in the middle of the Globex Asia session on Sunday night. So the market has very low volume and volatility right now, but the market is open. So let's go into the numbers bar study, and let's just go into the settings to show you just what we have activated here. So as you can see, the first option, all I have here activated is the options for column 1. So I have number bars text, I have bid volume by ask volume. So again, this is bid on the left, ask on the side. And then the rest of the options, I don't really have anything enabled. I don't have any background coloring. I don't have any text coloring. I'm not gonna get into this now, but there's a ton of options here. You can put a background, so you get different shadings based on how large the numbers are, on the differences between the bid and the ask, etc. With the text coloring, you can put text color based on the imbalances. As you know, on footprint charts, when you're comparing numbers, you're going like this. You're going diagonally from the lower left to the upper right. And this is just based off the fact that when you have a DOM chart, you're going to have price, then you're going to have limit orders to buy, and then you're going to have limit orders to sell on the right. So then if you have an aggressive trader that is trying to get long, then they're going to be lifting the offer. In other words, they're going to be buying aggressively into a resting limit order to sell. And if they're trying to get short, they're going to be hitting the bid, or they're going to be selling down into the next available limit passive order to buy. Because as you know, for every buyer there's a seller, for every seller there's a buyer, so they need to be paired up. So that's why we compare the numbers in a diagonal fashion when we're looking for imbalances on the footprint. But anyways, that's just, I'm digressing a little bit. I explain all those things in more detail on all my trading courses, and as well in my footprint videos that I have here on YouTube. You can look that up. So the main two things to take into account, like I said here, is we have bid volume by as volume as the format of our footprint chart. And then if we go down below, you can see right here this option where it says open and close marker style. I have that set as a candlestick outline, and so that is this outlines that you see here, and then you have a little stick for the wicks. There's different formats you can use. For example, you can put vertical bars on price, and you can see a little thing there. Some people use this type, which isn't just pretty much boxes from the open to the close. So if it's green, that means it opened here, close here, and this is the top and the bottom wicks. But again, you know, they're not as clear. I don't really like this formats. You can select a whole filled candle body, but again, this is the open, close, and then you have the wick high and low, which is not marked by anything. But for this in general, most of the time you're going to see it somewhere like this, just a candlestick outline, and then little lines for the high and the close, high and the low of each candle. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is how you can get rid of this little border, which is not so clear to see. You can change the thickness of this line as well, but I prefer the other format. So let's just go now through the steps of how we're going to turn this into this. So it's fairly easy. Here I have another copy as well of the same chart. I'm going to work on this middle chart. So again, this is all the same charts. They're all 3,000 tick footprint charts, or as they're called, numbers bar on Sierra chart. So I'm going to go into analysis, studies, and then I'm going to go into this option that is called overlay bar. Okay, I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to click add, and you can see that now I have it on the right side. I'm going to click apply, and now you're going to see you're just going to get this empty box down here at the bottom, because we now have to tinker the settings in order for it to work. So we're going to highlight it here now on our studies from the graph. We're going to go to settings, and there's two things that we're going to do here, or three things. First, as you can see here, under chart region and under chart number to overlay, chart region, it says number 3. In Sierra, when you start applying studies, it's going to start splitting your screen into different sections. So this is going to be region 1, region 2, region 3, and if you keep adding studies, is going to be depending what study it is, but on some of them is just going to keep applying studies down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this down, and I'm just going to select region 1. I'm going to click apply, and now you can see that now these bars on the background are applied into our region 1 on the chart, which is what we like, what we want. Okay, next thing, chart number to overlay. So here is giving us an error. You can see this candles make no sense because this study that we applied is not related to this chart we're looking at. Every chart on TradingView, on Sierra chart has a number assigned to it, which you can find here on the top left corner. So you can see in this case, we have the ES September 2023 contract from the CME, 3000 tick chart, and this is chart number 6. So by default, this just comes to chart number to overlay number 1. So now we gotta come down here, click on this, and then below here on this menu, we're gonna select the number of the chart we are working with. So I'm just gonna go down, select here 3000 tick number 6, click apply, and now we have our candles right here. You can see now this is applied into this study. Now I'm gonna go into subgraphs. Generally, you can see that when you apply a study, you start getting all this like data and numbers on the top here on the chart. I usually like to take this off just to have my charts look cleaner. So I do that by unchecking these boxes here where it says display, study, name, values, input names, etc. I just click apply and you can see that now these letters disappeared up here, okay? And now the last thing left to do, and this is just a personal preference, you can change the color of these candles that you have back here by changing these options right here. Open, high, low, and the last, which this will be the close price, but it's called last in Sierra chart. So I like to use a dark green color for my bullish candles and for the wicks as well. The high would be the top wick. So I click apply and now you can see they all got darker. And then for the low and for the last, which would be the closing price, I'm going to select a dark red color on both sides, and then on the last on this, click apply, and now we got dark red candles. Okay, so this study is pretty much set. One thing I recommend also that I do on all my studies that I customize here in Sierra chart is under settings and inputs, there's this little window that is called short name. You can assign any nickname you want for this chart. So in this case, I'm just gonna name this footprint candlesticks. And I click apply. I click OK to get out of there. And so now you can see that the study that we just applied over here, now it has the name we assigned it. It's called footprint candlesticks. If I move to the right, it's going to tell me what study it is, which is the overlay study. And that's pretty much it. We have that all set. So now what we need to do now is get rid of these outlines that we had before, these outer candlesticks that we had before on the borders. For that, we're going to go into the numbers bar study, which as you can see here, I named it candle numbers just because I know that it's all the numbers that are here on top of the candlesticks. That's just an easy name for me to use. We're going to click on it, go to settings, and then we're going to go down, and right here we're going to go back where it says our open and close marker style, we're going to click on it, and then from the list we're just going to select none. We click apply, and now it makes the border disappear. Now the other thing that I like to do is that you can see we took off the outline, but now we still have the numbers divided by a little x. So we have a number, x, and then the bid, ask, separated by an x in between, which for me looks a little bit messy. So what I do for that, let me just pull this down, because I like to have these numbers at the bottom. I don't like it to take up so much of my screen. We go back to analysis studies. Let's go back to candle numbers, settings, and if we go down on the menu options, you can see we have this option right here that's called numbers separator character. You can see there's an X selected. You can change this. You can put a vertical line, which in this case you can't really see it because it's behind the candlestick, or you can select spaces. So I think for this, probably 4 spaces would be a good amount. Let's click apply, and there you see. Now we have the bid and the ask separated by 4 spaces. So now we have a nice distance between them, and we have our candlestick overlay in between them. And that's pretty much it. You click OK. You can see that now we have a total of 5 studies in here. And that's pretty much how you make your candlestick. So we went from having it look like this. We got rid of the candlestick outlines. We got rid of the X's in between. And we applied an overlay of candlesticks in between the bid and the ask number. And then the result is going to be a chart that looks like this. Okay? And that's pretty much it. That's just how you make a nice, clean looking footprint chart on Sierra Chart. Okay? I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about this or comments, just leave them below. I'll do my best to answer them. But again, hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.